Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down Greatness. 30 days away from college football week 0. 42 days away from NFL week 1. And today, we finish the breakdowns of the AFC. Next week, we finish the breakdowns of the NFC. We got the AFC West today. We're going to talk some Los Angeles Chargers, Denver Broncos. After that, next week, we got the NFC West to finish up my breakdown series, which will be finishing, crazy thing about it's going to be finishing basically the last day right before August is when it finishes officially. And then, man, it's basically football time. So basically the last day, that Thursday is the Hall of Fame game. I'll be giving out my last futures and everything, which is wild to think about that literally the Hall of Fame game is a week from tomorrow. Because, yeah, that means football is basically here, right? So today, going to keep it simple like we normally do, especially because, it's the offseason, not too much to talk about. There's a little bit of NFL news, so we'll go over that. Probably next week we'll start catching up with some big college news if there's anything there. And yeah, today it's going to just be the NFL news, and then we'll finish off with the Broncos and the Chargers, breaking them down. I got a couple futures, not too many today, but I got a couple that I like. There's a lot of stuff I'm looking at that I ended up not pulling the trigger on, but we'll get into that in a minute. So let's start off with some NFL news. The first thing to start off with, Matt Stafford and his back injury. So this is something to keep an eye on. So apparently he's dealing with some back, I don't know, I can't remember if it's soreness, tightness, something along those lines. But basically he's just dealing with some back issues. They said he's going to be fine for the season. Should be nothing to really worry about. But we're worrying a little bit because not only is he an older guy, not only is he a veteran, I mean, we're we're 40 days away from the season. It's basically, I was about to say 7, it's basically like 6, 7, 8, max 7, just about 6 days away from the NFL season. And I mean, basically, I guess technically, I guess 6 exact weeks from today we have a game, basically. So, yeah, the fact that he's dealing with some back soreness and everything, that's going to be something to keep an eye on throughout the season because he's had a history of neck and back issues. So the fact that it's already flaring up this early, or this late, I guess, into the offseason is kind of like, we don't like the sound of that, but he's basically going to play still, so he should be good for week 1. It's just, this isn't going to be like a week 1 injury issue. This is going to be more of a, do we see this linger throughout the season? Malik Neighbors came back. He's dealing with that toe thing. Sounds like he's going to be doing fine. Justin Fields, speaking of toes, it originally sounded like he got carted off the field, and I didn't see a video of it at the time, but all signs were like, he might have torn his Achilles, it's a non-contact injury. He might have pulled, it might have been something serious like that. Come to find out, he dislocated his toe, so shout out to New York media, making it maybe just a slight bit worse than it was, because, yeah, everyone in the media basically made it sound like this guy tore his Achilles, he's going to be out for a while, the Jets might be screwed, and then come to find out, he basically, if I'm not mistaken, dislocated a non-big toe, so he should be good by the start of the season. It's just going to be like a couple weeks of, and as a guy who's dislocated his toe before, I mean, I think I actually broke a couple toes. I mean, that took me without having any NFL treatment, anything like that. It took me 2-3 weeks to heal. Didn't nearly take that long at all. So this is something that basically, all it's going to affect him on is potentially some reps. He might go, if they want to lighten the load on him, he probably won't be practicing for a little bit so they can have him for the season. Might affect some of his running when it comes down to that, but we'll just have to see. And then the final thing news-wise I want to talk about, Russell Wilson is officially QB1 in New York. I don't think that's too surprising at all, but Brian Daboll's officially announced, so there's no confusion. He's officially the starting quarterback, which I don't think any of us are surprised by. I think it's just a real question of, all right, do we see Jackson Dart mid-season? Do we see Jackson Dart at the end of the season? Do we see Jackson Dart week 10, 11, 12? Or is Russ going to play the whole season? Those are basically the questions I have, because if I had to guess, good chance that Russ does not finish out the season, and they do go to Jackson Dart eventually, just because not only do they have the hardest schedule in the NFL, I mean, offensively, it gets a bit dusty after Malik Neighbors, so we're just going to have to see. If I had to guess, I assume Jackson Dart. In an amazing world, they have him sit the whole season. Russ does well enough to keep him afloat, and they win. So this is, in the best case scenario, they win 7-8 games this year, maybe 9, if they get really, really lucky. Russ keeps him afloat, and he does just enough to allow Jackson Dart to basically sit all season to be ready for next year, and Brian Daboll would keep his job. But there's a chance that Brian Daboll gets fired, GM gets fired, Russell Wilson gets benched for Jackson Dart. I mean, the possibilities are endless, truly, with the Giants. I mean, Cam Scotty could be starting by week 1. I doubt it, but they have him who might do something. They still have Tyrone Tracy. I mean, there's just so many questions of who's going to be there in the long run, and I don't know. It just feels like basically since Eli kind of left in 2011, like Saquon was probably their strongest position for a bit, but so kind of excluding Saquon for those years, but just basically it feels like a giant drying machine where it's just like tumble. It's like, all right, we got our roster set. All right, mix it up a little bit. All right, mix it up again. Mix it up again. It feels like every year it's like, all right, we're mixing up the receivers. Now mixing up the quarterbacks. Now the O-line. Now the receivers again. Now the O-line again. Now the defense. It just feels like every year something's just gone wrong with them, which it just sucks. I mean, literally, I think it's been basically since like 2011, 2012, the Giants have been relevant. Relevant to the point, like their seasons, the last couple of years, I mean, their seasons are over, like, by week 7, week 8, it's like, oh yeah, they stand no chance. Like, not even like make the playoffs there's a game 2. It's like, oh yeah, their season's done. So hopefully Russ can do some change for them there, make it better. If I had to guess, I don't think so. Well, that's going to do it for the news portion. Like I said, let's jump into our breakdown futures part of the show. We will start with the Denver Broncos country. Let's ride. Let's actually talk about the AFC West before we get into the Broncos. I forgot to mention that. Like I said, we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday's episode, if you caught that. Chiefs were 15-2, Chargers 11-6, Broncos 10-7. All really good teams. And then the Raiders were 4-13. This might be the NFC East of this year. I mean, they kind of already were last year, but this might be one of those divisions where 3 teams make, I don't know for sure, but 3 teams make the playoffs again. And you have the one team at the bottom who struggles a little bit, but I mean, the Raiders are probably going to be competitive. This is going to be a really, really tough division to win. There's a reason the Chiefs are -110. We'll talk about another, I guess I might as well mention it now. There's a bet out there, Chargers, Broncos, or Raiders to win the AFC East at -130. Tempting. I will say, if I didn't already kind of like the Chiefs to win the division, just I was going to plant my flag with the Chiefs, that would be pretty tempting. -130 is not horrible at all, and basically, I don't think the Raiders are going to do it. It just more comes down to the Broncos or the Chargers. Like, man, I get to pick either team to win the division at -130. Not too bad. So if you really don't think the Chiefs can win the division, I mean, obviously, if you want to, if you have an inside gut feeling, or you know something like, oh, the Chargers are for sure going to do it, or oh, the Broncos, or even like, oh, it's the Raiders' year. Obviously, you want to take them because, like, the Broncos to win the division. We might as well talk about that a little bit before we hop into. Really didn't want to linger on this too long. We might as well. Broncos are +280 to win the division, or +330 to win the division. Chargers are 280, but if you want to take them both, -130, that is not too bad at all. But before I actually just end up talking about all the numbers I did look at, let's just hop right into it. Darren Rizzi is the new special teams coordinator. He comes over after being the Saints coach, and he's going to be the assistant head coach. He reunites with Sean Payton. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. Other than that, I think there's basically no other coaching ads. I think the OC's still the same, DC's still the same. Obviously, Sean Payton's still there. We just talked about Darren Rizzi. In total, they added 8 new coaches, but all these are like assistant offensive line, director of game management, so nothing massive. There's some title changes as well, but like I said, most of the they're still keep the same OC, same DC. Darren Rizzi's the new special teams coordinator. Looking at their 2 deep, I think Cortland Sutton is wanting a new contract, but it sounds like he's going to play and be fine. This is by no means the running back order. This is just how they have it on here. But Bo Nix, Jarrett Stidham, Sam Ehlinger, your quarterback. Oh, that's where Sam Ehlinger went? Shout out that boy, man. Held it down for the Colts for a little bit. R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin are your running backs. No idea who's going to be starting from that group. If I had to guess, probably J.K. Dobbins to start, and then Harvey gets carries, but it really doesn't matter. It's a Sean Payton offense. We're going to see every single running back at some point this season. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Trent Sheffield Sr. are the wide receiver group. Sneaky good wide receiver core. Like, that's a wide receiver core, like, on paper. You look at some of those names, like, they don't have the biggest names, but I love the Pat Bryant ad. I think Troy Franklin's going to be even better this year. Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton, Devon Vele, I mean, not horrible at all. I mean, basically the only thing they're missing is, like, a Michael Pittman, a Keenan Allen. Excuse me, somebody like that where it's, like, a big name, but also, like, a pretty good receiver. Like, that feels like the only thing they're missing. Tight end-wise, Evan Ingram, Adam Trautman, Michael Burton's the fullback. Just a fun fact, Quinn Miners. Is it Quinn? Yeah, Quinn Miners. Actually, I personally didn't play against him. My team did for college. I believe if that was my freshman year, I was redshirted. If it was sophomore year, this was the game where I already tore my labrum at this point, so I wasn't playing. But Quinn Miners, when he went to Wisconsin Whitewater, actually played St. Xavier, which is my school. So really cool. Just one of those things where it's like you watch him play, and it's like, man. And then like for George Karlaftis, for example, for me, where you just look back and it's just like, that's an NFL dude, and then you see him in the NFL, it's like, dude, okay. Like, it's just crazy to think about, just because like I played NAI football, like, and he was a D3 guy, so obviously these are not the D1 schools, but still, like, just go to show you, like, if you do have talent, they will find you. And I'll tell you what, this boy, pretty good. That's what we would say. Zach Allen, defensively, they got Zach Allen, DJ Jones, John Frankenmeyer, Nick Pitino, Alex Singleton, Dre Greenlaw, Jonathan Cooper, Pat Surtain II, Talona Hufanga. This is where Hufanga ended up? I didn't realize he left the 49ers already. I guess I just missed that. Brandon Jones, Riley Moss, and Jade Barron. There's a lot of people that I listen to insider-wise that said this potentially could be the best defense in the NFL. I mean, reading off some of those names, they got names everywhere. They got pretty decent backups as well. So this is a defense that is fully expected to be really, really good next year. And there's a reason that we mentioned it Tuesday. Broncos to win division, like says plus 30. That is the most bet. I don't know if it's the most bet future in general or the most bet like division future, but it's one of those two, most bet. Which is, I mean, you read this roster and you're just like, man, they got a squad. And if Bo Nix can progress to year 2, I mean, there's really a chance this could be a really good team this year going into the season. That's also why their win total is at under 9.5 wins plus 110. I actually like their over. I think it's another year where they go 10-7, but let's read their schedule and kind of explain why. First game versus Tennessee, at Indianapolis, at Los Angeles, home versus the Bengals, away for Philadelphia, home versus the Jets overseas, so it's not really a home game, but a home game. They're home for the Giants, home versus the Cowboys, away for the Texans, home versus the Raiders, home versus the Chiefs. They had the Week 12 bye, which is really, really good. Week 12 bye is really, really good for that late in the season, especially for a team that potentially might make the playoffs to just get a rest a little bit later. Then they'll be at Washington, at the Raiders, home versus Green Bay, home versus Jacksonville, at the Chiefs, home versus the Chargers to end the season. So, yeah, this is a team that, like I said, I think they're going to potentially go 10-7 this year again. Just looking at their schedule, I mean, they could beat the Colts. They can beat the Titans. They can beat the Chargers. They for sure can beat the Raiders. There's 4 wins. Giants, they can beat 5. Dallas, they can beat 6. I think they can beat Houston, but that'll be tough games. Won't give that to them necessarily. Jacksonville, they can beat their 7. And that's just quickly running through it. I think they could probably beat the Jets. There's 8. They can maybe, like, I would say there's probably guaranteed 5 to 7 guaranteed wins on the schedule. So the fact it's over 9.5 and it's plus money, I really do like those odds. So I'm going to play the little odds game and take that. I think there's a chance they go 10-7 as well. I don't think there's going to be too much regression, especially since their team has gotten a lot better, especially defensively. Offensively, they added even more weapons for Bo Nix. Bo Nix is going into year 2. Sounds like this offseason, Bo Nix even talked to Drew Brees as well. They got R.J. Harvey, so the running back position got an upgrade. Like, this is a team that, everywhere you look, I mean, it looks awesome. Like, their positions look great. If you think this team's going to make the playoffs, they're minus 115. Their Super Bowl odds are plus 2,800. I don't mind their playoff odds at minus 115. I think I'm just going to stay away because, like, if I'm going to take the win total plus money, if they win 10 games, they're going to make the playoffs. So I might as well just, I mean, realistically they should, so I'm probably just going to stick with that. And like I said, there's also that division bet, minus 130 for the whole, if you want to take the Chargers, Broncos, or Raiders to win the AFC West. But then to win the division themselves, we talk about plus 330, the most bet. There's basically, I won't lie to you, so running back-wise, I'm taking no futures on this team. I mean, there's just, it's a Sean Payton thing for me. This is one of the, especially for me, a thing I don't like. I don't like betting on, I like my bets to be super, super safe. It's like, honestly, it makes sense. The more risk there is, the more I don't want to bet it, which I think should just be betting in general. But that's not necessarily safe for odds. There's often be situations like this where, first off, they don't even have the numbers up on the book I did my final numbers on just to give out. But just in general, I mean, we said 4 different guys are going to be getting the ball running back. So I think R.J. Harvey obviously going to be the leader of the clubhouse eventually, but is that going to be by the start of the season? Is that going to be midway through the season? I just don't know, man. So this is one of those ones where I'm just running back wise, we're completely staying away. Wide receiver wise and tight end wise, I do think they're going to pass the ball around a good amount. I don't think Evan Ingram's going to be amazing. I don't think he's going to be bad, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to be horrible by any means, but I just don't think he's going to be like a world beater or anything like that. So there's only really one guy I'm looking at stuff for, and I don't think I'm going to take it. It's Cortland Sutton. Him to have over 900 receiving yards is minus 114. Over 6.5 touchdowns is minus 128. And like I said, that is something I was looking at. I'll read you my thought process when I was looking at this, because I won't lie to you. It's basically what kind of has held me off it so far. You look at his past season, so we'll just go back to 2020. He came in the league in 2019. He had 704 yards. 2019, 2020, 112 yards. 2020, 2021. What happened? Was he a COVID opt-out, or was he injured? I actually can't remember that season. Torn ACL. That's what it was. Man, week 2? I honestly forgot about that torn ACL, man. That's one of those ones that, yeah, I just straight up forgot that he tore his ACL, so that makes sense for that season, obviously. So since the torn ACL, 776 in 21-22, 22-23 at 829, 23-24, 772. And the last year with Bo Nix, 81 receptions, 1,081 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And like I said, his touchdowns are 6.5 minus 128, 900 receiving yards. I don't think either of those are bad numbers. I just want to see him kind of do it again. And this whole contract thing with them signing him to an extension has me a little bit worried. If I was going to pick, I'd probably take the touchdowns over the receiving yards, just mainly for the fact that basically last year he had 8. The year before that he had 10. He struggled to score before that, but these last 2 years he's been a little bit more consistent in the touchdown mark, where he's at 10 and 8. But still, like I said, it's a little bit sporadic. I do like Bo Nix though, so I'm trying to kind of not fully look at the back numbers. I mean, he had a 9.9 touchdown percentage, which is, I think, decent high. I think the average is 7 for a receiver. I could be way wrong about that. I just feel like I heard before the number is 7, so that's kind of where my thinking was there. So 900 receiving yards, I don't mind. 6.5 touchdowns, I don't mind, because I do think that's probably more the norm with, I about said Joe Burrow. With Bo Nix, I do think that's going to be more the norm. I do think this is going to be another good year for him. He started 13 to 17 games. What the hell is that about? I wonder. That's weird. I don't know. I just realized that's a weird one. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to take anything there, like I said, just because, if anything, it's the touchdowns, but I just don't have anything I fully like. I do have one bet for sure I will be taking. We'll talk about the other one I won't be taking, because it basically has to do with the same guy, Bo Nix. So looking at his passing touchdowns from last year, he had, he had 430 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Passing wise, he had 66% completion percentage, 3,775 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. My whole question is, how much do I think this is going to regress? Mind you, he started all 17 games last year, but I do think definitely during the beginning of the season, I feel like Sean Payton held him back a little bit and didn't give him the full playbook. And as the season's going on, he opened the playbook more, opened it more. Like I said, this is him going into the year 2. I think he's only going to be better this year, so I am going to take that passing over of 3,500 passing yards, because basically 275, that could be just one pretty decent game. I don't think he's going to lose one pretty decent game worth of yards. I mean, literally, unless an injury happens, I don't see how he regresses to bound down to 3,500 passing yards, unless R.J. Harvey's that dude. Which, I will admit, could become an issue where they don't need to pass nearly as much as they did last year, but with how good their defense is, with how good the run game is, I mean, I think Sean Payton's going to allow him to pass. And if it's very similar to how it was with the Drew Brees offenses, the checkdowns are going to be there, and if the checkdowns are there, that's just free yards, where it's not Joe Burrow, Jesus. Bo Nix. If he checks it down to the running back, out route quick, 5 to 7 yards, he's going to do that a decent amount, and those will add up over the season. I mean, wouldn't be shocked if there's a game here and there, or maybe even every other game, where he dumps down the running back, quick 15 to 20 yard game on just a simple check down, which I love from the Sean Payton offense. He wanted the check down, so I love the 3,500 passing yards, 24.5 passing touchdowns. I think there's going to be some regression to the passing touchdowns, just because I don't think he's going to, but there might not be as well. It's this whole R.J. Harvey thing, with the running back wise. If R.J. Harvey is really going to be that good as the Broncos kind of think he will be, that I think there will be some touchdowns vultured. But overall, I mean, he accounted for 33 touchdowns, Bo Nix did, 29 passing. So 25 passing touchdowns at minus 114. I do not mind it at all. It's just, for me, I was looking at it. we're basically, I mean, there's like what? I gave out close to this point, if you say 2 futures per team, almost like 60 to 70 futures. So there's just ones, if I don't love it, I don't need to take it. We already have a lot of futures placed. We might as well just truly narrow it down. So yeah, I think I'm only going to end up taking the passing yards for them. But there is a decent amount of stuff I like. And then when it comes to this team, like I said, to finalize my predictions, final thoughts, I think they're going to be about 9-8, 10-7. So I like they're over at 9.5 wins. I think it's going to be a sweaty one where wouldn't be shocked that maybe, yes, it hits like week 16, but then they lose week 17, lose week 18, so it finishes at 10-7. 11-6, I don't think is out of the question. I just think it's going to be hard, especially playing in the AFC West. It's a lot better. Defensively, we talked about it. They have the chance to be the best defense in the NFL. Plus 330 to win their division is the most bet, either futures bet or the most bet like division bet going around right now. So obviously, I'm not the only one who thinks this. There's a lot of people who are going to be on this team. And like I said, I wouldn't be shocked they win 8 games. I would be a little shocked they win 7. But I truly think they're going to be somewhere around the 9-8 or 10-7 range. And then I'm really excited for year 3. I think next year is the year where it's like, they could win 11 games this year. But next year could be the year where they really step up, especially if Bo Nix just continues to progress, which I'm excited to watch about and see. So, my official bets for this division, we got 2 of them. It is the Broncos to win 9.5 games this year at plus 110. It is Bo Nix to have over 3,500 passing yards at minus 114. 3 others I was kind of considering. Broncos to make the playoffs minus 115. Cortland Sutton over 900. Cortland Sutton over, I don't know. It's either the 900 yards or 6.5 receiving touchdowns. I would choose one or the other. I don't think I'm going to take either, like I said. And then, then make the playoffs minus 115. And then Bo Nix over 24.5 passing touchdowns. Like it, don't love it. So I just end up staying away from it there. So the official 2, like I said, Broncos 9.5 wins over that, plus 110. Bo Nix over 3,500 passing yards. Now I think it's time for us to talk about them Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are looking to kind of continue some of the success they had last year in year 2 under Harbaugh. Year 1 under Harbaugh, I would say, was a pretty decent success. They played pretty good football, won a decent amount of games. Just really didn't have it going in the playoffs. I'm trying to remember who they played off the top of my head. 11-6 last year. Excuse me. To leave off with that, man, who'd they lose to last year? Oh my God, was it the Bills? No, there's no way it's the Bills, right? I'm gonna have to look this up because I actually can't remember. Let's see, it had to be the Bills, right? I don't know why. So yeah, I want to see divisional. No, the Bills play the Ravens. They lost to the Texans. Oh, that's why I can't remember that game. They got destroyed by the Texans. It was one of those ones where and this was like, I think like 2 or 3 weeks before that, the Texans got destroyed by the Ravens on Christmas. So I think a lot of people probably felt similar to me, like, oh yeah, this is the Chargers' chance to win a game. And nope, they lost 32-12. Got that shit rocked last year. But they're looking to do some bounce back into this season. I mean, they had a good season last year, but the way they ended it, I'm sure they have a sour taste in their mouth. There's one notable change, and that's the safeties coach. Other than that, offensive coordinator still Greg Roman. Defensive coordinator still Jesse Mentor. Ray Fickens, special team coordinator. Harbaugh is obviously still there to coach. So not too much changing there. And then if we look at them defensively, or I guess they're too deep, you got Justin Herbert, Taylor Heineke, Trey Lance as their quarterbacks. Running back-wise, Najee Harris, Omarion Hampton, Hassan Haskins. And when we talk about Najee Harris in a minute, that's a really interesting one. Ladidi McConkey, Loudon McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Trey Harris, who I think there's a lot of fantasy people who are excited about him. Darius Davis, Jalen Rager, Keandre Lambert-Smith as their wide receivers. Will Dissly, Tyler Conklin are their tight ends. Scott Matlock is the fullback. Mekhi Becton, I think, is their new ad in the... I actually don't know fully. I know Mekhi Becton's for sure one of the new ads. Joe Alt was drafted this year? No, it was last year, wasn't it? It was last year's, yeah. Because he was the first pick in the Harbaugh. Yep. Okay, so it was... Mekhi Becton, I think they drafted... I can't remember who they drafted. And if they drafted an offensive line or not. Defensively, Deshaun Hand, Tyre Tart, Otito Ogbonna, Tulu Tupolotu, Dion Henley, Junior Colson, Khalil Mack, Dante Jackson, Derwin James Jr., Alohi Gilman, Cam Hart, and Tarheeb Still. Rounds out your defense. This is going to be a defense I feel like that's going to be like one of those sneaky, like probably top 11, top 11, top 12, maybe top 13 defenses that there's not a lot of names that we know on there, but there's a lot of guys that are playing really, really good. Joey Bosa moves on from this team. He's now with the Buffalo Bills, which is going to be a different look for them pass rusher wise now because they've had Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa there for a while. Now it's only Khalil Mack. And like I said, the thing that's interesting about Najee Harris is Marion Hampton might end up starting just because Najee Harris is a veteran, yes, but he has not been at training camp. Najee Harris is dealing with a firework to the eye issue where it sounds like it basically I forget what the name of it is, but it's basically like the layer that protects your eye. Basically, like firework accident happened and did something to the thin layer in his eye, so he is currently out, and it's unknown for sure when he's officially going to be back. But because of that, that's a lot of people excited about Marion Hampton and what he can do with this team for this team. And I mean, there's a chance that he could start early on, which would be pretty good for fantasy people who are going to be drafting him. Because I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do running back wise. We don't know what really is going on with Najee fully. And like I said, Najee is a veteran, but he's a veteran that played for the Steelers all of his career, not the Chargers. So they might what the Chargers are going to do running back is going to be very, very interesting moving forward. Then look at their schedule. First game of the year is in São Paulo, Brazil, as they play the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chiefs, as some people like to say. And then week 2, they're away for Las Vegas, home versus Denver, away versus the Giants, home versus the Commanders, away for the Dolphins, home versus the Colts, home versus the Vikings, away for the Titans, home for the Steelers, away for Jacksonville. Week 12 bye, which is huge. Yet again, for another team looking to make playoffs, later bye the better. Home versus Vegas, home versus Philadelphia, away for the Chiefs, away for Dallas, home versus the Texans, away versus the Broncos. I'll admit, this is a team over under win total 9.5. It's minus 110. Under 9.5, minus 110. So this is a team that the books really don't know. They're just like, hey, we know they're going to be about 9-8, and potentially maybe 10-7, potentially 8-10. I would think with the hardball team though, they would at least be 9-8. I mean, I could see them beating the Raiders at least once, for sure beating the Giants. There's 2. They could beat the Dolphins. There's 3. Titans they could beat. There's 4. Jacksonville they could beat. There's 5. I could say they probably should. They could beat Dallas. I would say there's about 6. That's probably a good number. I'd say there's 6 guaranteed wins on the schedule for sure. They could maybe even beat the Colts. So they could have 6, potentially 7 guaranteed wins on their schedule. Obviously, no game's guaranteed, but if you're going to guess and all this stuff, good chance they beat some of these teams. So like I said, there's a good chance that they win 6-7 games. So it's a matter of what are they going to be the 3 to 5 games, or 3 to 4, I guess it's more probably them, because I don't see them going 12-4. What are those going to be, these extra games that they're going to be able to find and win? Where are those going to be at? I mean, that's going to be a really good question to ask, because like this is a team under Harbaugh. They're going to want to lean on the run a little bit more, especially with Greg Roman there. This is a team that has not been bad recently, especially because of the Harbaugh edition. They've gotten better since the Brandon Staley era, but you're looking at like minus 134 to make the playoffs, which, I mean, they have better odds to make the playoffs than the Broncos. So that tells you a lot about how Vegas feels about this team. They're plus 2,500 win the Super Bowl compared to the plus 2,800 for the Broncos. And like I said, they're minus 110 for their wins. Broncos are plus 110. To win the division, they're plus 280. The Broncos are plus 330. So, I mean, this is a team where the books have them just slightly better than the Broncos, which I can't really blame them for. I feel like it's a lot of the Harbaugh effect as well as, I mean, they have a solid team. Especially offensively, this is a team that, this looks like a team, I mean, if they figured out the running back with Marion Hampton and Najee's able to spill him, I mean, this is a team that offensively could be able to dominate games, and then it just comes down to, okay, especially, I mean, Jesse Minter on defensively, I thought he did pretty decent last year, but obviously they had moments here and there, but if they can improve defensively as well, I think that's going to be a good stepping stone for this team. Because that's where a lot of my questions is. I like Justin Herbert. I like their wide receiver room. It could be, if they get Keenan Allen back, I love their wide receiver room even more to have the veteran in there, because basically all they're missing is that one veteran stud that would be awesome to have, and that could be Keenan Allen. He's still out there. Offensive line I like. Defensively, it's just, that's my question. It's like, defensively, what do we get? I like their team, but what do we get out of them? Marion Hampton won Offensive Rookie of the Year plus 1,000. They didn't have any of his rushing stats up on this book I was looking at, and like I said, there's still questions with him and Najee Harris who's going to start, so I don't think I would take it anyway. I do think Marion Hampton eventually wins the job from him, but I don't know if that's going to be after 4 weeks, after 2 weeks to start the season, after 10 weeks. Maybe they just split time the whole season. Maybe Omarion becomes not the starter, but Najee gets the first. Maybe they do something like the Detroit Lions like to do, where David Montgomery usually got the first series and usually got the touchdowns and the first run, and then they would give it to Jahmyr Gibbs. Do we see something like that over here? We just know that Harbaugh likes to run the football. He likes to win games. He likes to win with special teams. We know they don't have to be flashy, so it's going to be involvement with the running backs. I just don't know how much. That's held me away from a decent amount of that stuff. There are 2 bets that I'm basically looking at for this team, because I won't lie to you, but they're over/under. I'm just not going to take it. There's way too much volatility for me. It makes me a little bit nervous. So most of my bets, and like I said, wide receiver wise, didn't see too many numbers, and then also the ones I did, I'm just like, I'm not. Another one situation. Like it, don't love it. So it's to the point now, too, especially with these last 2 divisions. Like, these are the 2 divisions I was torn the most on when it comes to props and everything. So it's like, all right, if you don't love it, we don't need to take it. We got a lot of other stuff, especially I think like, hell, I can't remember which division it was, but it was just like 2-3 weeks ago. I basically gave out like 15 bets, it felt like, from the same division. So if I'm feeling hard-headed, then that's fine. With some of this, I feel like. And then, and then another thing that's me torn is like John Harbaugh. He come out and says Herbert's biggest weakness is us. He does everything great. How much he cares deeply. How much he trains the perfect amount. Everything he does, don't change a thing. It's our challenge to get to his level. In my opinion, his biggest weakness is us. We have to be the ones that rise to his level. Harbaugh is just that's a guy you would just love to play for. He's a player's coach. The players rally towards him. I do feel like I said, I do think the Chargers can take a step forward. Now, 10-7 might not totally seem like a step forward, but it could be. They have a decently tough schedule. Some of the teams are playing. I do think this team is going to, like I said, I liked a lot of the improvements they did overall. It's just when it came to betting Justin Herbert, his over 36 and 50, his over under for passing yards 36.50. Last year he had 3,800 passing yards under Harbaugh. Any year he's played 17 games, he's basically got it. There's one year he played 13, he had 3,100, so that's why I do lean this over. He's basically, like I said, he's hit it almost every year he's played and played all 17, so I like it there. It's just like, they are going to run the ball a little bit more, so it's held me away a little bit. But that is one that basically, like I said, the lost futures that I bring up damn near every episode at this point that's going to be coming. Good chance that makes the list, man, because like I said, I am pretty close to taking it, especially because they don't really have much more on the Chargers than this other one I'm about to talk about. So I'm very much leaning towards that. English is hard. The one I am probably going to take, though, is over under passing touchdowns. His over under passing touchdowns is 21.5. He had 31 his rookie year, 38 sophomore year, and then the last 3 years he's had 25. Last year, or 2 years ago when he played only 13 games, he had 20. Last year he had 23 touchdowns, look at these numbers: 31-10, 38-15, 25-10, 27. Last year he had 23-3. Very, very clean with keeping the ball. And I think that's only going to improve with the running game. Last year rushing too, he had 306 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns. So the running he's a little bit mobile there as well. But I really do like the touchdowns because I do think that number is going to increase. Maybe the interceptions increase a bit, but I just think he's going to get more efficient now in the second year under this offense. I think especially now that the run game is going to be, no offense to J.K. Dobbins, but as the season went on, he definitely got a little bit weaker, and Gus Bus was not the best running back. You told me to read the depth chart. He's not even there anymore. He is gone. So between Amari Hampton and Najee Harris, I do think that's an upgraded running back. So I think they're going to get a little bit more out of the running game, which hopefully in turn would get them more out of the passing game. I think their offensive line has only got it upgraded even more, so I think that's going to be better. So I like the 21.5 passing touchdowns. I do think the 36.50 passing yards as well is something I'm going to take. I just, like I said, haven't fully got there. Wide receiver-wise, there's just way too many. I liked some of the lad stuff, didn't love it. And then running back-wise, I would take, if I knew Amari Hampton was starting week 1, I would probably be all over his stuff because I do think he's going to be projected to be a pretty good running back. I don't know. I don't like betting on a guy who's not starting, and not only is he not starting, he's a rookie that might not earn the starting job till a little bit later in the season. So it's just like, maybe I'll just hold off, man. So my final thoughts on the Chargers, a team that I think is going to win probably about 10 games. Max I see them winning is 11, but I do think they're going to hit their over. At worst, I think it's a 9-win team. Like I told you, we went through their schedule. I have about 6 or 7 games I project they should win. And that's immediately just showing up to the field. They probably should win it. Yeah. It's to the point where I like them. Don't necessarily love them. I don't know if they're going to be a Super Bowl team this year, but I do think they're going to upgrade, be in the playoffs. Probably a bit more feisty in the playoffs than they were last year, but basically, they're starting to get over the hump, though. I think Harbaugh being there is a huge, huge part of them getting over the hump. They're slowly starting to get back some more respect that they lost, I think, with Brandon Staley, and lately just being the Chargers, man. The Chargers have been the Chargers for a long time where you know what they're going to do. They're going to blow some games they shouldn't. They're going to lose a game or two they probably shouldn't, and it's going to go pretty bad for them. It's nice to see some of these teams starting to change that around. Sucks, though, when teams like mine, the Colts, go from being these dominant teams to now they're the teams that's like they have the issues. They're the ones not finishing games. They're the one blowing games. Like, it's frustrating when you're a fan of it, but when you're watching the league as a whole, it is awesome just to see these teams like rise and fall. Like the Panthers being just bottom of the barrel for a couple of years. Now, like, I mean, they aren't amazing still, but they're having, like, you're seeing the life support. You're seeing, like, okay, hey, there's a chance. You see, and then there's other teams like the Jets where it's just like, you try to give them, every year where there's a little bit more hype, like, okay, maybe this year goes bad. Maybe this is the year goes bad. And it's just like, man, that part's really, really exciting. So with this Chargers team, I'm very excited to see what happens with them there. My official bets for this Chargers team, I'm going to take Herbert, or I guess futures in this case, Herbert over 21.5 passing touchdowns. I lean Herbert over 3,650 passing yards. Haven't really pulled the trigger yet. I just can't get myself there. And then for minus 134 to make playoffs, like it, don't love it, so I'm just probably going to stay away from that. So the only one I'm officially taking is Herbert over 21.5 passing touchdowns. Pretty close to taking that passing yards, though. So my official futures for this division, AFC West Part 2. I got 3 of them official things for you. Broncos over 9.5 wins plus 110. Bo Nix over 3,500 passing yards minus 114. Justin Herbert over 21.5 passing touchdowns minus 130. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for the support. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back in your feed Monday, Tuesday. One of those 2 days. If I had to guess, probably Tuesday, but there's a chance I might do Mondays. Because, I mean, here's soon anyway. Basically, after week 0, or maybe the week before week 0, we're going to transition to 3 episodes. Because I think my official plan, I might as well kind of debut it now. I'm still tinkering with it, so it's not fully there yet. But I think my plan is like Monday is going to be the college football days. I'll go over the games that happened during the weekend. Just some big news, some storylines, and stuff like that I've been hearing. Tuesdays will be the official like NFL reaction show where I'll do react to all the NFLs because then I'll have everything from Thursday to Monday done instead of like last year we did the show on. I think we did the show. Did we do the show Monday? I think we did the reaction show like Monday and we missed the Monday Night Football game. This year, Monday's going to be officially only college football talk. So I can, because I think the issue was like the Tuesdays or Mondays I'd come on. I'd spend like 30, 40 minutes in the NFL, 10 to 12 on college. It'd be nice if I could basically fix that to where it's like, hey, I spend still the 30 to 40 on NFL. But hey, maybe I also have a new episode where I go like 30 minutes on college football and able to talk a little bit more about there. The college football ones will probably always be shorter than the NFL ones just because there's so much more going on in college that there's a lot to take care of, so I'm going to miss a lot more versus the NFL. There's 16 games a week. I'll probably have a good amount to say about most of those games, and it's a lot easier to track every one of those games on Sunday with Red Zone, with NFL Films, all 22, all that stuff. It's a lot easier to follow with that than college where there's 134 teams. This team's playing Mercer this week. There's a good game this week. So, I mean, it makes sense, right? So that's kind of the plan is Mondays are going to be reaction to college, recap of college, do that. Tuesdays are going to be the reactions, recaps of all that to NFL. And then Wednesdays are probably going to be my official betting, the official bet days where we do pick 'em, go over my bets for the week, see if anything changes. And eventually, I don't think this will happen this year, maybe towards the end of the season. I eventually want to do a Friday episode as well where it's like Monday, obviously it's the betting stuff, blah, blah, blah. Or Monday's the college football stuff, Tuesday's the NFL stuff, Wednesday's the betting, some of that stuff. Because especially later in the season, some of the lines don't fully come out. So it would be nice if I could, do some of the stuff Wednesday, all that. Maybe split it up to where like Wednesdays, all the games up to 1 o'clock. Like Thursday games, all the games up to 1 o'clock. And then that'd be Wednesday. We'd be off Thursday. And then Friday I would come back, react to the Thursday night football game. And then potentially give you like the 4 o'clock games and the 7 o'clock games and then the Monday prime time. So that way, instead of cramming everything together, it just kind of spreads it out. It allows me to touch on a lot more. So that's basically the rough plan. I would love to go to 4 episodes a week. I just can't commit to it exactly just yet. I know I for sure want to go to 3. I'm hoping I can get to 4 if time allows it. So that's ultimately the plan. Hopefully I can get to it. We'll just have to see. But that's going to be down the line. Next week we're going to finish with the NFC West. And then, man, we're in August, baby. So you know what that means. Week 0 is basically around the corner. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support. I really do appreciate it. I will see everyone back in this feed on Monday or Tuesday.